So maybe we can pause there. Maybe.
Like to call to order the City of Saugatuck City Council meeting for March 9th, 2026. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everybody, and welcome. Jamie, will you call the roll?
Anderson,
Here.
Clark,
Here.
Dean,
Here.
Gardner,
Here.
Muncy,
Here.
Peterson,
Here.
Stanton.
Here. We have a quorum. I'll keep the mayor's comments brief, but heartfelt though, Saugatuck High School women's basketball is on fire. The game Friday night was thrilling. I mean, of any sport, one of the best games I've ever seen. So it was great to see that. And they're playing as we speak. So we can be sending positive vibes. Hopefully, those of us who want to go can catch them Wednesday night. And it's a beautiful spring day. So all is well in Saugatuck. Ryan, comments from you?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Council. I'm also going to keep it brief. You have plenty on your agenda this evening. I echo your comments about the spring weather. It feels fantastic outside. Just want to send a quick thank you to Jamie tonight for her quick thinking. We're having some internet issues here at City Hall, so she's kind of got a hotspot running on her phone to hopefully keep our Zoom running. Unfortunately, with that change, it resulted in me asking our city attorney to drive in, so they're going to be a little later. So you'll see Mr. Whitty coming a little later than expected. But please bear with us if you see any issues on that tonight. But otherwise, I'll leave it there, Mayor, and let you have your meeting.
Great. I have two agenda changes, and then if others have others or would like to add, if somebody could make a motion to add Bob Miller and Brad Lovers as guest speakers, so 7B and C.
Yeah, Bob Miller, 7B and Brad Lover, 7C.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and this, are there other agenda changes? Okay, roll call vote.
Voice vote.
Okay, all in favor say yes.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Well, that takes us to Alec to talk about the Art Coast Food and Wine Festival. Thanks for joining us.
Get my timer on here, so we lose track of it. Welcome everyone, council members, Madam Mayor. Thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate it. I know most of you outside of these rooms, but my name is Alec Payleitner. My wife and I own Saugatuck, a restaurant in downtown Saugatuck. But I'm here today as the project manager for the inaugural Art Coast Food and Wine Festival coming in November. One quick caveat. Please know that I 100% get that there is permission structure that still needs to happen here, both safety and municipal. But I'm hoping that today we can just kind of talk and you can sit back and enjoy kind of imagining the grandeur and imagining the spectacle of it all with me while I talk you through what we're dreaming up. So again, Art Coast Food and Wine Festival coming November 5th through 7th of this year. How do we get here? Where did it start? So this is a CVB sponsored event. The CVB, as you know, is a destination marketing organization that focuses on tourism, bringing people to town. About a year ago, we started a subcommittee while I was still on the board, shoulder season subcommittee, tale as old as time. How do we get a little busier outside of those 15 weeks when we all make our money? So we spent quite a bit of time, effort, resources, spending about 6 months. We brought in some consultants and really just thought of everything we possibly could conceive, put it all down on paper, and then narrowed it back down again. So we came up with this 5-year plan, which includes 1 to 3 year initiatives and then 3 to 5 year initiatives. And that's where this got dreamed up. One thing you've heard of in this room particularly is the warming stations. Potentially slated for Rose Garden in downtown Douglas. That was the first initiative of this shoulder season project. This is number 2. Why November 5th and 7th? Numbers show, particularly in lodging, because I have those numbers, anecdotally as a restaurant owner, that things sort of fall off a cliff come the end of October. But an event of this size requires momentum, requires staff. And so to keep things in perspective, we said, okay, let's do it right after that all ends, right after the end of the Halloween holiday, so that we all can say, all right, let's do one more week here, one more week that kind of looks like summer. Because we really, one of my missions and the CVB's mission was to have this be a positive from a real dollars in the bank for our businesses. Yes, it's a good marketing opportunity. Yes, it's wonderful for our towns. And yes, I do think that people will come to town in May, in June, because this exists. But the event itself, those 3 days, I want it to be a positive for the businesses. If we can go to the next slide. This is the Riverside Pavilion. That's where 3 of the main festivities are going to take place. So we're looking, am I pointing in the right direction? Yes, perfect. Singapore Yacht Club parking lot, right between the Butler and Coral Gables. This is going to be a 16,000 square foot heated tent. I'm hesitant to call it a tent. It's much more than that. It's more of a temporary structure. We're calling it the Riverside Pavilion, as you see there. It takes about a week to put up. Heated, it's November. Got to keep people comfortable. The side along the river is clear, so you can see those colors. If you see the rendering on the left-hand side there done by our marketing department, that's what the colors look like. We took some pictures this year, that same weekend, of that's what the colors look like. Super exciting time to be in that neck of the woods. You'll see the kind of the size and scope of it in the top right and the middle picture there. That's the CAD drawing, and then kind of a photograph of what it's like setting up, just so you get an idea of how big this thing is. Bottom right-hand corner is my lookbook. So that's what we're shooting for, right? And we have chandeliers, we have those garden lights, we're using real furniture. So in this tent is going to be like 20 mini living rooms. The whole thing's sort of a VIP structure. And like I said, that is aspirational, inspirational, all of the above. We can go to the next slide if that's okay. Brief run through of what the festival schedule looks like. 3 days, 3 nights. To be clear, this is a destination festival. We're intending most of these guests to come in from out of town and to be here for those 3 days. Thursday night, it's a welcome luau in said Riverside Pavilion, about 2 hours. All-inclusive, food and drink feast, entertainment, and all-inclusive is sort of the name of the game here. Once people get to this festival, we're not going to ask them for any more money. That's sort of the intention, is that it's an all-inclusive ticket price for the weekend. Friday afternoon, hosted mini sessions. There's nothing slated for Friday afternoon, but what we're doing is offering everyone in town to have experiential mini sessions, whatever they want to do. And we will facilitate selling tickets and just act as a pass-through. That could be winery tours, could be coffee tours, could be brewery tours, could be cooking classes, anything along those lines I'm open to. We can have unlimited amounts of those, but it's a way for everyone to get involved in town for that Friday afternoon. Friday night, restaurant showcase. That's going to be dinners in individual restaurants throughout town. About 20 to 25 different restaurants are going to host about 700 to 800 people for prefix coursed menus on that evening. Late night, after dinner, we're all going back to the Riverside Pavilion for Club Sugar, 9 p.m. to midnight. We're going to have a DJ, some dancing, entertainment, charcuterie and cheese boards, desserts. And then we're going to get back up Saturday afternoon, head to the grand tasting, 11 to 4. That event is what you think of when you think of a food and wine festival. Dozens of wineries, chefs preparing small bite plates, celebrity chef demos, cookbook signings, things of that nature. Friday night, we're going back to the local talent for the grand collaboration. Similarly to Friday night, it's going to be chefs, local chefs, except they're going to be paired up now, working together in groups of 3, 4, 5, and doing kind of big grand dinners. And that's going to be for our VIP guests, of which there's going to be about 150 of the 1,000 guests will have VIP tickets. Late night, s'mores on the beach. Plug your ears, any of the logistical nightmare people. But again, this is where the permission structure comes into play here. And this will, of course, be weather permitting and permission permitting. We can go to the next screen and I'll fly through this real quick for you. This is what the ticket structure looks like. So the pavilion pass on the bottom, $400 gets you into those 3 big events in the pavilion, the welcome luau, Club Sugar, and the grand tasting. The weekend pass right above that for $550 gets all of that. Plus, you're going to get one of those restaurant showcase dinners. And the way it works is we're going to start selling tickets on June 1st. And then about 2 weeks before the event, so mid-October, all those restaurant dinners are going to drop like we're buying concert tickets. You got to find your seat, and you get to pick which of the restaurants you want to attend for your restaurant showcase. VIP pass, again, about 150 of those we're going to sell. That includes all the things we just talked about, plus that grand collaboration dinner, plus the s'mores on the beach, weather permitting, permission permitting. That's all I got.
That was fast and good.
Great job. Great job.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I'm happy to entertain questions if you have them. I don't need to take up more of your time. I am easy to find and I'm happy to talk about this.
Question,
I'm
Chris?
living in all of this, so.
Madam Mayor, thank you. Thank you. That was a wonderful presentation. Will there be any availability for people who aren't hooked up into this to do Walkmans?
Potentially depends on how the tickets sell, of course. But we are not at this point. Again, this is an inaugural festival, so I have to leave my card on the table, but at this point, we are not offering à la carte events.
Okay.
Potentially.
Will the restaurants that are doing this still going to be open to other tourists that are in town? It's not taking the whole restaurant, or is it?
Some are, some aren't, depends on the size, depends on style of seating. I had some interesting conversations. We'll take a couple restaurants, for instance. Dustin at the Singapore Room has some different kind of styles of seating. And a lot of these are going to be two tops, right? If you imagine people that are coming to this, and he's got some bigger tables or things that he doesn't want to just put two people at. So he's set aside some of his dining room. Salt of the Earth, similarly, two different rooms, right? They're doing kind of a similar thing that we talked about, where they're setting aside some of their dining rooms. Some restaurants have chosen not to participate, and that's fine, because locals will need to eat, and even the people with the pavilion passes will need to have dinner as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Russ?
Yeah, Alec, good to see you.
Absolutely, as well.
Great presentation. This is exciting. A couple questions. Are you going to do you have commitments already? I'm assuming Saga Taco's on board with this. Do you have other commitments from any bars? and
Dude, we had a
restaurants?
very exciting meeting today, Russ. I need about 700 to 800 seats for my Friday night dinners. And I have tentative commitments for over 900 seats that I got today. And then I have another 12 restaurants that want to commit to the Saturday collaboration. I mean, the meeting we had today was really overwhelming with the amount of support from the restaurant community. We had about 40 of the F&B leaders all in a room this afternoon having lunch and going through a little more extensive kind of Q&A presentation today. It was a very exciting day.
Nice. So we'll see some local names and people we recognize. You're going to be going outside of the Saugatuck Douglas
Fenville.
area, Fenville.
Great question. Celebrity chefs, yes, we're going to bring in some, people to put on the poster that you might recognize from television, et cetera. The whole mission here was to keep it as local as possible. So that's where I started. And what I found out today is that I might get to stay there. And that's really exciting to be able to do all the food, all the restaurant dinners locally. We're really close, if not there.
Excellent. I'm excited by this. I think this is a great off-season event. I don't recall the parking lot ever being used for any event like this unless it was a private party for yacht for Singapore. So great work. Looking forward to working with you and seeing how this goes.
I appreciate the
Let's go.
kind words. Thank you.
Other questions?
Just the fact that Alec has decided to take this on behalf of the Convention and Visitors Bureau. He has put so much work into this. So this is a really big deal for our Convention and Visitors Bureau in our area and our restaurant industry. There was a ton of people at the meeting today, a lot of excitement, and a lot of people are on board to make this happen in a lot of different ways that I'm sure will, now that everybody has their, thinking caps on, trying to figure out, how can I be involved and that sort of thing. This is really going to be a community effort. And again, big thanks to Alec for taking this on.
And if I may say so, thanks to my boss in this, Ashley, who's the CVB director as of this year. And I call this festival the Alec Ashley mess around because we've been in rooms talking about this all day, every day. So special thanks to her as well.
Thanks, Ashley.
Great. Well, thanks to both of you.
Good luck. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck.
Thanks for
Appreciate
coming.
your time today. Thank you.
Thanks,
You bet.
Alec.
Great job.
Okay, Bob Miller, you're up for, introduce yourself and
Yeah,
give us
absolutely.
a sense of who you are and what you're up to.
No, thank you guys all for having me. My name is Bob Miller. I just started my third week today, but the new administrator for the Kalamazoo Lake Sewer and Water Authority. I've met a lot of people in the last 2 weeks and, 3 people very welcoming to me in this room already. Joe, Mayor Anderson and Ryan, I appreciate it. And I wanted to let you know that I'm here for you guys. I'm anxious to work together. I'm excited to be here. I've lived right down the road for 15 years, and this is the first opportunity I've got to really kind of work in my hometown, if you will. So I'm very excited about it. I can tell you guys got a great team that's over there still right now. I mean, they've all been really supportive to me in this transition. you never know, right? You come and you meet a group full of brand new people and you hope for the best, and they've really been behind me. Everybody's on the same page. I've got a great guy in the office helping me out right now, and a small but wonderful team of operators in the field. Heard lots of good things. That's going to be very encouraging to me in my role. And I look forward to working with all you guys. I do. And I'm happy to answer questions, happy to be available, and happy to help, find out this common ground that I know we all have on this utility operation. So thank you so much.
You're welcome and thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you. Welcome.
Yes.
So what does your first 30 days look like? What are your goals? Not 30 days. What are your goals for your first 90 days?
First 90 days is a good one. I can tell you, I'll be completely
Sounds like an
honest with you.
interview question. That's not what it's
No,
meant
that's
to be.
fine because my first 2 weeks have already looked quite a bit different than I said they were going to when I interviewed. And that's not for any reason other than when I got here, the things that needed attention right away were a little bit different than the things I thought I was going to be able to pay attention to right away. But certainly in 90 days, I'll be completely honest with you. I would like to fully understand the agreement that's in place right now with 3 communities. I have those, I'm reading them, but to understand what that paper looks like, translate into operations out in the field and capital planning into the future. I'm trying to find my spot there, trying to find where I might be able to offer myself in that discussion. Certainly right now, I'm trying to learn the process out in the field every day. I'm not there yet. I've spent a couple days here and there with my operators in the field, but pardon me, 90 days into it, I would love to be able to cover for anybody that exists in the Cal Lake Authority. I've done that type of work, but not for quite some time. And, the level of work that we perform in the sewer system is a bit different than I've experienced in the past. So to say that I'm not as qualified to operate in the field right now as those 4 operators I just mentioned would be true. So I certainly want to get to a place where I can do the work that those guys are doing so I could better understand how it is, that I can best help them. And most importantly, it sounds to me like there's conversation underway about kind of what the relationship is going to look like in between the 3 communities and Cal Lake Authority. I want to get to know where that conversation is and how I can best position myself again to be helpful, in that. And I think that's probably some of the most important things we're looking at right now. We have a couple holes in the staff and we've actually conducted a few interviews since I've been here already. So plans to fill a spot up front, possibly another spot up front. An operator posting that we have out there right now, I'd love to get that spot filled. And really just kind of, again, taking in what we have in place right now for capital planning. And again, trying to weigh in on that subject.
Great. If there's ever, you never use the word exciting with sewer and water misspill authorities, right? But Cal Lake has been around for 40 plus years. And that relationship between between the township and the city and the village has evolved to the point now where we have to look what's going to look like for the next 30 or 40 years to the best we can predict what that's going to look like. And with you coming on board, that offers us an opportunity to collectively, and I sit with Joe Clark and Ryan Cummins on the utility committee, we're calling it, between the 3 municipalities, and looking forward to kind of hearing once you get your feet on the ground, get your boots on the ground, kind of what your feeling and thoughts are on what we have in front of us. I take this very seriously. Cal Lake was my dad was on council at the time when Cal Lake became Cal Lake. So I have a lot of legacy history with it, and it's been a great operation, and we have an opportunity to even grow it further and make it even better than it is today. So looking forward to working with you.
I hope so. I appreciate that. And that's been the most encouraging part, really. I mean, Joe's been a huge help to me, and we'll call it, we've looked and kind of identified a lot of places where we believe everybody would like to see us do more, do better. And I hope to help with that. Thank you, guys.
Glad you're here. Welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming. Good to see you.
Thanks, Bob.
Brad, you're up.
Thanks for having me again. First, I wanted to say, well, it's been not that long since I've been here, but based on current events, I have some pressing matters I wanted to fill you guys in on, so well, I'm here so soon, but anyway. First I want to say is that change is difficult. So that's as a precursor to what I'm about to report on. I sent this press release to your city manager. I don't know if all you guys saw it or not. But, so just give you a little context in the process of what happened. So the Community Action House of Allegan has had the hot meal delivery service to the seniors through the senior millage for the past around 20 years. So, and then it's on an every 3-year contract basis. Now their 3-year contract expires April 1st this year. So as per the process and per the rules, county put out an RFP bid process to all vendors available, and they, 4 companies came back. 2 were chosen to go between. And then the Commission on Aging met to take all the recommendations, did all the due diligence. The Commission on Aging is a commission that us as Board of Commissioners take recommendations from on all the senior services. They facilitate all that stuff. So if you aren't aware, the senior services funded through the county are the in-home meals, senior transportation, personal emergency response system, adult daycare, and in-home services. So every county resident above 60, I believe, is available to sign up for those services. So paid through the senior millage that everybody pays. Has been on the tax rolls for a long time. So those are the services available. So they facilitate all that stuff. So the recommendation that got sent to us was to switch to Meals on Wheels out of Granville, or instead of five days a week, hot meals, 3 days, 1 to 3 days a week, frozen meals. Based on a lot of factors. One of them was cost, other logistics. And I was not at the COA meeting, so I don't know all of the details of what was discussed. But the recommendation was made through their due diligence and all the factors they determined to switch to Meals on Wheels for the next 3-year contract. So we brought that up at the last county board meeting. And after much discussion and much determination of, because the contention that was made by the Community Action House was that they visit people 5 days a week. So there's somebody visiting that senior 5 days a week. Are they laying on the floor? Is there electricity on? Is there heat on? All of these things that are valuable services, right? As I've already discussed, there are wraparound services in the senior millage that people are available to be signed up for. So I want you to know that, as the Board of Commissioners, we are dedicated to, if there is a gap for any of the clients that will switch to Meals on Wheels, that we are committed to making all those services available and whatever they need, and communicating that to them. So that was a decision that was made. And the other news that just came out this morning that isn't public yet is administration has determined that instead of letting the contract go till the 1st of April, due to events for the past week, we are terminating the contract with Community Action House as of tomorrow evening. So starting Wednesday, everybody will get frozen meals from Meals on Wheels. So instead of April 1st.
Are the other services still available?
Yes, all the other services are still available. So Meals on Wheels, so the transition process will look like this. Meals on Wheels will come in and do an intake or an assessment of every client. Right? Do they need in-home care? Do they need adult daycare? Do they need a microwave or a freezer? They have donation services available to facilitate, if they need extra space to store said meals. But, that's all part of their process that they do. So yes.
What has been your feedback from the senior citizens who rely on that service?
It's a mixed bag. Some like the hot meals. Some honestly would rather have the frozen meals. It depends on them.
You have a lot of people that are upset. I guess that's what I'm trying to. Okay.
And no, the biggest upset that I got was the initial communication got put out. Didn't say the exact words, but it alluded to the fact that the meals would stop. Right? Which wasn't true. Right. So everybody thought, okay, well, my meals are ending, like cold turkey. And no, I had to explain once I explained, no, the meals will still continue on a 1 to 3 day a week basis, then it's not a big, a couple of people said, "Oh, I'd rather keep my hot meals," but most people said, "Well, it's okay. That's no big deal." So.
Right, okay.
What about the wellness checks?
Yeah.
Because it sounds like from the information the Community Action Place was putting out, that for many of your client, or many of the clients, that was the only contact, human contact they would have each day. And many of them don't have family or close people to keep an eye out on them. So how are we covering that?
So that's why I said, Meals on Wheels is also capable, their drivers and their staff trained to conduct those checks when they deliver those. And in the intake and the assessment, first assessment, that can be determined how often should somebody be visited. So if somebody isn't already enrolled for a service through the senior millage to check on them, do a wellness check, maybe they can be through the senior millage free of cost. That can all be facilitated in the future. And that's the avenue that we're going for to fill in any potential gaps in the wellness check area that you're discussing. So.
Chris?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So they'll still be doing the one contact every 5 days,
1 to 3.
1 to 3. Are there caseworkers? Does the Community Action Agency have caseworkers? Will the caseworkers stay the same? Or they're just the
I don't
drivers?
believe they have caseworkers
Okay.
that do that. It's more of just a daily, most of these people that have had
The
these
drivers.
meals delivered for years,
The
they know
drivers.
their drivers, and their drivers, I would say, are their, I'm not gonna call them caseworkers, but their contact back to Community Action House currently.
How many people are served?
550 or so.
Countywide?
Countywide, yep.
Not as many as I would think. Which is, I guess, a good thing. Yeah.
Yep. And that, yes, so, yes, that's currently, so that may go up and might go down depending on what happens, so.
And how are you reaching out for feedback or just waiting for feedback to come in from?
We have reached out, sent communications about how the transition will go, and we would accept any, a caretaker or anybody who has questions, they have all of us as commissioners information. If they want to call us or contact us and ask us anything about it, that's how we've reached out. And since we've announced the transition, I haven't heard from anybody since in the last 3 or 4 days, so.
One more question. The drivers that we're working with the Community Action Agency, are they going to be the same drivers that are going to work with? So it's a whole new set of faces coming to meet these
Right.
people.
Meals on Wheels is if I'm correct, that's a national organization, right?
I'm not sure about that. You're probably right, but I'm not.
I know it goes throughout the state of Michigan, but I'm not sure if it's just a state thing or a national thing. Yeah.
Yes,
Brad, do we know how many people within the city of Saugatuck are actually part of the program currently?
I do not know that
Okay.
off the top of my head, sorry.
Okay, because I know of 2 personally. And that person that was coming to their house 5 days a week, to the point that we're saying is that they weren't necessarily caregivers, but they were just basically knocking on the door, making sure that they weren't on the floor, whatever the case may be. So I've not talked with the one person that I actually work with closely that's a beneficiary of this program. So my point is that the communication to go to these folks, they're generally older people, disabled, and the messaging may be a bit difficult. So I'll glad that you're here tonight to tell us in the letter that was received, because that can something I can communicate back to the person that I personally, keep an eye on. I'm also grateful for the county's services, because this service that the county has is not every county.
Mhm.
And my dad lives on 32nd Street. He lives on the correct side of 32nd Street in Allegan County. The other side of the street's Ottawa. And when he was in the hospital last summer for an arm injury, we contacted the senior aging service in Allegan County. And the first question they said, "What's your address?" "Holland." "Which side of the street are you on?" My dad said the south side. He said, you're in the market. And so anyway, it was a great service. My dad ended up not needing much, but the fact that it's there, I'm very grateful for that. And the millage that we pay, I gratefully pay that, because it's something that not every county has chosen to do. So.
And this was a very difficult decision for me personally, because, me as the youngest commissioner. You know, my parents are not of that status, let's say, just to be careful, nice. My wife's parents are, you know, so this is not a world that I live in, that logistically that I am a part of. Like, I don't know how this works in the real world. So I've learned a lot through this process of how this works and who does it and how it's funded and where, you know, how that works. So, and it was just interesting to go through that. So, but it was very difficult.
Well, great.
Sorry, you said this is largely just was a financial decision, financially?
It was
based decision?
one factor. There was logistics, there was financial reasons. We had heard a few comments that people were, you know, some, not a very high percentage, were may not have been as happy with the hot meals delivery as the frozen meals, you know, so. You know, you're not gonna everybody, you know, that's happy, but you're not.
Yeah, no, I was just curious whether the decision was based on trying to save money to avoid cost increase or to improve quality of service, and it sounds like there's somewhere in that dot plot, it's somewhere, but.
I think on the front of saving money, you know, the county is very interested in being fiscally responsible with the tax dollars that we get. You know, we understand that in the climate that we're in, the millage, we're very lucky to have this millage, as Russ Gardner said, that not every county has that. And we want to use those funds in a responsible manner and not, you know, so if we have one bid that's extremely higher than the other, you know, we need a good reason to say, well, we're going to spend 30% more to take this bid instead of this one. Otherwise, we have to answer, well, why did you spend that much more money on the equivalent, for potentially equivalent services, you know? So I think we just need to be we're very cognizant of that and very respectful of our taxpayers, you know, money that they give us, so.
I had neighbors on the east side of the state when I was in my 20s before I moved here that I knew that did get Meals on Wheels, and it's a great program. You know, it's good food. They do a good job with it, and so I think I'm very, you know, I feel fine. You know, I don't think anybody will be missing out anything as far as quality. And I know if I was an old man, I wouldn't want somebody coming in every day.
It's
I mean,
it's not an if, Gregory, it's a when.
Yeah.
If I was, I mean, come in twice a week or whatever, bring me all my food and leave me alone.
And the last thing I'll say is, you know, this being new and this is replacing a service that's been there 20 years. This is going to be a switch and a change. This is going to be hard. For that, you know, part of the new contract, you know, 6 months or a year into this, we will evaluate how this is going. Do they like it? Do they not? Do they get enough meals? Do they not, you know, and if the changes need to be made, we will look at that and potentially say, okay, well, maybe this isn't working as well as it should. It should work. So when we hit that point, that's the plan in the future. So,
Would community, I mean, have you had conversations? Would Community Action House be willing to step back in?
potentially, yeah.
Potentially, if after, say, a year or two, you find out this isn't working? Okay.
Your contract allows you to do that.
After 3 years, probably.
Yes, because
Not in.
under the millage services, this is a free choice. So service is available to everybody, but it's not mandated, right? So if there's a separate service available, okay, it's their choice to choose one or the other, right? Well, let's say we did go back to community action. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but and there was another option. It'd be that client's option to say, I want to keep Meals on Wheels through the senior millage or Plan B, right? So that's why the contract, because it's for the county, for every resident, it's not mandated. It's a free will, a free choice.
Right.
So
So with this termination happening tomorrow at end of day, so the thing that I'm envisioning is that all of a sudden you're gonna have a new person showing up at your door less frequently with different meals.
Mhm.
And for people that are of the service, this might be a bit of I mean, the food's important, yes, but I think it's a relationship that really,
and I believe in order to keep the same will of the contract up till the first, it will be 5 days a week. until the first
Okay,
to keep the same spirit of what Community Action Council was doing per your question. So it's not just like
Okay.
that.
so will they have a written piece of communication they're gonna give with, okay, great.
Correct.
Just explain the reason for the,
They will.
Great. Thanks, Brad. Appreciate
Thanks, Brad.
that.
Thank you very much.
thanks, Brad.
Some late breaking news that the girls' team lost 72-67, left it all on the court. Played their hearts out, so sorry to be the bearer of
We should
sad
start the
news.
meeting now.
And I was expecting a text, so I'm not checking my phone other than now that I've received it, I will put it down. Okay, that takes us to public comments. So this is a time for anyone who wishes to make a comment on something that's on this evening's agenda. Have up to 3 minutes, and just a reminder, it's not a Q&A session, but a public comment session. Is there anyone in the room who wishes to speak? You can come up to the podium.
Well, good evening, Saugatuck. My name is Diop Harris. I was born and raised in Battle Creek.
Oh, you know what? Are you running for office?
I am.
That is not on our agenda.
I comment on the Meals on Wheels.
That wasn't on our agenda. I mean, we're really having all of the candidates do it at the end of the meeting.
I got you.
So appreciate you understanding.
Couple more minutes.
Yeah, just a few more minutes. It won't be
Yeah.
long.
Anyone else in the room wish to speak? Anyone on, looks like we have a hand, do we have a hand online? No, it's just a microphone. You do.
I think,
Yeah, can you unmute? There you go.
Hello, this is Rakesh. Would this be an appropriate time for me to make a comment?
Yes.
Correspondence, something on the agenda.
Yes.
Okay. Great. My name is Rakesh Madhwa. I own 534 St. Joseph Street, and I have for 20 years. You have the letter from Mr. Tringali, my local agent, and from myself in the meeting materials. This property has come before this council many times, so I won't retrace all of the history. What I do want to speak to today is to what the decision on January 7th meant to me and now how that appears to have changed. The noncompliance that created this situation came from administrative misfiling and delayed notification, as Mr. Tringali has acknowledged, not from any intentional disregard from the rules. I hired Mr. Tringali's company specifically so that somebody local and knowledgeable would handle these requirements. I trusted that they were being handled. When the original license was issued in July of 2024, it came on the heels of a very difficult divorce settlement, one finalized just 2 months earlier, that required a refinance and a title change before anything could move forward. Through all of that, I believe the license was in good standing, and when it was finally issued, neither my ex-wife nor I ever received a copy. Her email was listed incorrectly. I was not listed on the license. Only Mr. Trincali's inbox got the notice. I'm not here to point fingers. I'm here to just say that from the very beginning, there have been clerical issues in the handling of the license that were simply not in my control. I think it matters. I think it's just a question of fairness. I feel like I'm being penalized for an error that I didn't make and didn't have any way of knowing about. At the January 7th meeting, this council directed its legal counsel to craft an ordinance granting amnesty to the 9 STRs under discussion, including mine. I left that meeting something I had not felt in a long time regarding this matter, which was relief, which was real relief that the situation was going to be okay. And so I had to act on that. My Chicago lease was expiring at the end of February. Had I believed my STR was not going to be renewed, I would have had to seriously consider giving up my Chicago apartment and moving to Saugatuck full time, a significant disruption to my career and life, but one I was willing to consider in order to retain my house. But instead, because of the council's direction that I felt was so clear, I renewed my lease, and I also allowed myself to book a trip to visit my elderly parents in India who are dealing with very serious health issues. And who I had put off seeing. I was abroad for the entire month of February, the month in which I would have had to move out of my apartment in Chicago, not tracking media materials and focused on my family. When I came home, I learned the STR had not been renewed. I won't pretend that this didn't hit hard. The house is not an investment to me. It's a place I fought to keep during one of the most difficult periods in my life. It's where my kids and I have celebrated birthdays, holidays, brought friends and family. It's continuity for them to me in a time when a lot of other things changed in my life and my kids' life.
You've
My-
reached your 3 minutes, so if you could wrap up, please.
Um, my, my children love Saugatuck. I love Saugatuck. We have real roots here. This would force us to sell the house because of a clerical error I didn't make. After relying on good faith on this council's clear representation, not an outcome I can accept without asking you to please reconsider. I'm asking for your understanding. I'm asking for your mercy. I'm asking for you to honor the commitment this council made to the people who were in attendance on January 7th regarding the STR materials. I'm available to
Thank you.
answer any additional questions or clarifications that you may require, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Rakesh.
Anyone else wish to make a public comment? All right, we will close public comments and move on to the consent agenda, which begins on page 7. Can I get a motion?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to pass our consent agenda as listed at our city council meeting, March 9th, 2026.
Second.
I know we've talked about a number of these in our workshop. Are there any questions before we vote?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, on the Outdoor Discovery Center proposal, I just had mentioned, I want to reiterate that Renee Zeta is someone who's been doing plantings over at Mount Bald Head. So as part of this process, certainly encourage the city to talk with her just to coordinate her efforts. And I understand there's been additional money collected over there from the donation box that was put at the base of the stairs. The other thing too is a couple things on the actual proposal itself. What is going to be the effort to make sure that what is planted holds? And in other words, what, I don't know if guarantee is the right word, but I know plants sometimes don't take, and maybe Scott's got an answer for that. Just kind of trying to understand what ODC has commitment wise to make sure what they do holds.
Yeah, it's a good question. That, clearly it's a pretty hostile environment for vegetation to start taking root. So, but I have to say the Parks and Public Works Committee, along with staff, if you look at the proposal that was submitted, there's quite a few steps. One was, deer causing erosion and stomping through the vegetation. So, there's some measurements being taken to keep the deer traffic out of there, as well as the pedestrian traffic through signage and other deterrents to try to give it a chance to take root. Also, staging the plantings, so the combination of plantings, spreading different seed packs out there that'll take root during, from spring through summer or summer and fall. That'll be staggered in a way. So we're hoping for a much better success rate, and also the management from the ODC, keeping an eye on it. Where before previous attempts, there was the planting and then hoping for the best. A lot of the revegetation efforts have been bare root trees, which we expected a certain rate of failure with those, just the nature of the dune systems. So hopefully that answers your question a little bit.
Yeah, it does. So will we get reports back from ODC over some period of time in terms of the success of the revegetation? To Scott's point, they'll have some responsibility for this. So I just do we have an expectation they'll be back in front of us in say a year and say, okay, we planted, I don't know, 50 trees, 30 of them we lost. I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers out there. That's not, those are not real numbers, but just so we have a sense of what the $23,000 investment is actually going to get for us. Is one question.
Yeah, it's broken down in the proposal. The majority of their work is in the 2026 calendar year.
Okay.
But if you've ever worked with the ODC, you know that they're pretty involved with the projects that they participate in. So a lot of ongoing conversations, and I'm sure at the request they can offer reporting.
Excellent. The other question is, over time, because this has been as a result of invasive species, that was the reason for the original treatment. Do we anticipate what our costs might look like going forward for continued management and eradication of invasive species over at Bald Head?
That's being worked on. So not only with Mount Bald Head, basically, when we took when we set the priority of revegetating the dune, the Parks and Public Works Committee really did a good job, in my opinion, of looking at it a little more holistically and zooming out and saying, you know, invasive species wasn't even really a part of this plan originally. So, but because we're trying to revegetate the dune, that's why this one was included. But there's an ongoing task of creating a citywide invasive species management plan. So not just you know, Mount Baldhead, and we can treat the Saugatuck Harbor Natural Area a little bit differently because it has its own funding mechanism with the endowment, and then plus, you know, it's just the level of care that we would want to have in the critical dune system. But there's we're pretty close to making a recommendation to council on what an overall invasive species management plan might look like, and that's all of our roadways, our parks. Even the 63rd Street property where we bring all of our brush and leaf collection material, that's kind of a breeding ground for invasives. So we want to make sure that we have a comprehensive plan of everything, including Mount Baldhead, before we start making recommendations on appropriate dollar amounts.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Appreciate it.
Chris?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Two quick questions. The first one is, I know that many times having put things in that died, sometimes after the start of the new year, you'll be able to replace a tree if it's dead. Will there be any guarantees like that if they come through and of all that they planted, if there's 8 or 10, will they be replaced or will they just be dead?
That's not a part of this plan,
Okay.
the replacement.
Okay, and then your invasive species project that's going on, is that one of our priorities?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
2025.
Any other questions before we vote? All right. The roll call.
Anderson,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Muncy.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Stanton.
Yes.
Motion carries. And Russ staff is going to reach out to Renee to talk. to her.
Great, thank you.
That takes us to approval of accounts payable, which is,
Mayor,
yes.
motion to approve accounts payable in the amount of $192,031.76.
Second.
Any questions or comments or context on the numbers? All right, it's a roll call vote.
Anderson,
Yes.
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Joe.
Thank you. Anderson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Muncy,
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Stanton.
Yes.
Motion carries. So with no public hearings or unfinished business, we go to new business, 13A, which is Village Square Courts. We talked at fairly great length about this at the workshop, but can we get a motion and then we can answer other questions if it should be around 100, page 106.
I'll make the motion, Mayor. I find it. I found it. Motion to approve concept 1 and the related donation agreement for Village Square Park, and to authorize the city manager to obtain all required permits and approvals, including Historic District Commission approval.
I'll second.
Discussion, comments before we vote?
Yeah, the only thing that I want to say, Mayor, is I appreciate the discussion that we had at the City Council workshop. I'll be voting no on this tonight, not because I don't look forward to all of the improvements at our park, but the Parks and Public Works Committee did submit a different proposal. And the proposal that we submitted was concept number 6. After a lot of discussion and research, looking into everything, hearing from the community. We did get a few community letters recently that are a little bit different and probably more align with concept 1. But we did hear from a lot of people in the tennis community that didn't want to have one court with 2 different types of lines on them. And then we didn't hear anything about a shuffleboard court. Do you call it a court? Shuffleboard court? So, you know, the Parks and Public Works Committee thought that picnic tables that had multiple different types of uses was a better offering for that park. That being said, I'm looking forward to the improvements. It's going to be fine. We'll all be happy with all of the improvements. Again, thank you to the donor that donated $100,000 towards this. And thank you for the efforts made to be able to get the grant that made the other $150,000 available to make this really great improvement to our downtown park.
Mayor, and I'll just say, given that I made the motion, that, I do agree with everything Councilmember Stanton said. But I just, for the record, I just think it's important for folks to know that I think we had probably not 2, but 3 different meetings on this over the past several months, even into last year. And, during our last workshop, it was pretty clear that the majority of the council, the consensus was for option 1, which is not to denigrate the work of Parks and Public Works in any way. I very much appreciate what they do. But this is a democracy, and during their workshop, the will of the majority of the council was clearly for concept 1. So I'm in favor of moving forward and capturing this grant, getting this work done so we can enjoy this improved park.
Gregory?
Yeah, I wanted to thank the PPW for all the work that they did. I know that they reached out to a lot of people as well. And I appreciate a lot of the work that the PPW has done and the things that we have approved that they brought forward to us. So this was just, I think, the only time that we kind of had a disagreement with one of their ideas. So I would still be open about having maybe a couple of picnic tables.
Thought we had actually said we wanted to have.
And we mentioned those checkerboard tables too.
tables,
So
right.
I thought that was maybe a way that we could kind of work together to have a little bit of something that they wanted and then have a little bit of something that the majority of the board wanted.
So, and I might be remembering this wrong, but I thought that what we approved was concept 1, but with the tables.
Did we? Okay.
I thought so.
Okay, good.
So the motion, I guess, was wrong because it wasn't in concept 1, but Russ?
I just wanted to say, I really appreciate the work from the PPW, and I hope that they're not too disappointed that we didn't, follow through with all of the ideas. But I think, I just want to let them know they're very much appreciated.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. I echo Congressman.
There you go.
Councilperson Muncie's comments. I think the picnic tables are not a big deal. We just simply instruct the city manager, work with DPW to place a couple there. There's already some down at Wicks Park. There's some down at Willow Park, Mosquito Park, Oval Beach, and just Coffin Park. Just say, hey, have the DPW staff put a couple of picnic tables there. I mean, it's that simple. I don't think we need to make that part of the overall concept. I do agree with option 1. I think it allows us some flexibility going forward as things change. It reflects, for me, option 1 strikes the best balance. It preserves tennis access, supports pickleball, adds shuffleboard, and keeps Village Square feeling like the park that residents value. It allows multiple recreational uses without committing the space entirely to one sport. And it preserves flexibility as recreation needs evolved. And those are the reasons that I support option 1. I think it's the best fit for the community and for this current use. A couple of questions on the, something that maybe I didn't really pick up on, but the fences that are currently there, are those planned to be removed and replaced? Is that still the plan?
Yes.
Okay. Why couldn't we just leave them as they are, repaint them? They're in great shape. I mean, I've been down there. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. So I don't know what the cost, I don't have the proposal in front of me, but what the cost of that could be moved to something else. I mean, to me, it just seems, I don't see the reason to replace those.
Yeah, I mean, certainly we're still in the design engineering phase
Yes,
from the
yes.
proposal. So Scott's here, take that note and circle back to our engineers to,
Yeah.
if we have, things are in good shape and good quality and don't need to be replaced for the last, a good long time, we can certainly take a look at that.
Yeah, thank you. And then 2 is the courts themselves, the basketball court and the tennis/pickleball courts. We're still, this option 1 includes expanding the concrete further out, right?
Yeah, in fact, I want to one more time go over this because this became an issue last time with the playground, and there was frustration that folks didn't feel like it was as clear. Jamie, if you could pull up concept 1 for us. There's no misunderstandings here. So Jamie she we can zoom in on both the courts and the tennis court area. One or the other. Jamie. So there's like a lighter color dotted outline that kind of shows where the existing footprint is at, and then what the new footprint, again, on the concept, about what it would be. And then the same for the basketball. If you could scroll down, Jamie, it kind of shows you that area is kind of, it's not quite north-south, it's a little.
So
Crickets.
it appears that both are wider than what currently is there, but.
Correct. So both are gonna have, outer areas around the actual court itself. And then, the basketball court is going to more of a standard size regulation court. That gives you an idea of, you're gonna see more.
Looks good.
Yeah, my other question is, I'm just really kind of reluctant to lose more green space down there. The courts are.
I think let's call the vote. Okay. So the roll call vote.
Anderson,
No.
Clark,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Muncy,
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Stanton.
No.
Motion carries 5-2. Takes us to public speech policy and pallet sign display on page 122 of the packet. We get a motion. It is on 123.
123.
Sorry, Mayor. Madam Mayor, I motion to approve the public speech policy and pallet sign display policy as presented.
There a second?
I will second it.
All right. Again, we talked about this at some length at the workshop. Other, anything, points people didn't make or want to make again, Chris?
Mayor, thank you, Madam Mayor. Clarification for me. We had talked about the display limit being limited to a week as opposed to the 15 days. Did we want to go with that?
Sounded like a lot of us were on board with that.
Yeah. Only because nobody could hold it up for 2 whole weeks and one group couldn't get in then for that
Right.
one week.
It's ultimately up to you if you want to make that change. I guess I think I remember, you discussed it. I didn't hear a strong, yes, for sure, change that in the draft. I think, my.
Would it make it easier for the staff?
I think the one, and Scott's here and can, talk about this. There may be certain times when maybe they can't get out there right away and so maybe somebody loses a couple days off of a week. And I think, you might have some folks who have an event who,
Gotcha.
you're gonna hear about it the other way too. Well, we relied on that 2 weeks and, but you might be able to get more signs up there
Is that a
throughout the
legal
summer.
issue? 7 days?
There's a lot of competition for the space, and then, there's certainly times where higher priorities take precedent, and we're a day or two late, so that makes total sense to me.
The one thing I did want to add is just as written, the policy, it provides no more than 15 days, but also gives city staff, in particular the city manager, the discretion to shorten or modify displays. So in the event of, 2 events that are going to be within 7 days of each other, that's something that the city could do with the policy as it exists, but it would still give the option to have something displayed for 15 days, if there wasn't a conflict.
Would that create a conflict though? I mean, if somebody had, that's what I'm thinking, somebody had it up for 7 days and you're trying to compromise by having something else up and they'll say, well, this last person that had their event, they had theirs up for 14 days, so I'm just.
The city would have control over that.
Okay.
Again, there's a lot of discretion that's inherent with this being government speech. So I wouldn't be concerned about setting a precedent like that one way or the other. And obviously there would be a good distinctive reason for it if the city is balancing the competing interests of 2 different displays versus someone who doesn't have anyone else vying for the spot at that point in time.
Okay, thank you. I'm fine with it then.
All right, Chris?
I have one more whiny little thing. When I drove by today, we have the banner up And then there's the banner underneath it. Can we just center them so they're both, or are there water lines there that stop that?
Yeah, we've done quite a bit of damage to the
Yeah.
water line, but we've talked about that. Yeah, our former Parks Department, Chad, that worked there. He was frustrated constantly, so we were maybe kind of waiting on, what was gonna happen with the Blue Star Trail, and then after the sign gets relocated possibly a little bit, we'd put something a little more permanently, like some sleeves in the ground, or we could have it in the same spot every time, and then also come up with some parameters in our special event policy, probably on the dimensions of the banner so that they're consistently the same.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm glad we're limiting it down to 2 because the last few years we've noticed 4 or more out there. It's just getting too cluttered.
All right, are we ready to vote?
Just one comment. Thank you, Mayor. Just people may be seeing this and saying, why are you making this change? Well, there was an event that caused some discussion. So essentially what the city's done, this is a learning for me, is that there's designation of different spaces for different uses in the city. And the city with this policy will change the pallet sign to classify it as government speech, which will allow this council and future councils to control what messages appear on those signs. It doesn't mean that a group cannot apply for an event to have in one of our parks and so forth. It doesn't impact that. It just controls the messages that are on the pallet sign.
Right.
All right. It's a roll call
Something I
vote.
learned.
Anderson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Muncy.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Okay, that takes us to staff reports. This is our new agenda, different place on the agenda. And rather than go through each one, I'm just gonna open up to if anyone has any questions on any of the staff reports in the packet. All right, seeing none, that takes us to the second public comment period. And during this public comment period, anyone can speak to anything. You have 3 minutes, come to the podium, introduce yourself and.
Good evening. I'm Jim Story. I live in the south side, 32nd Street, the city of Holland. And for 12 years, I was the county commissioner. I never represented Saugatuck City, sadly, but I did represent the north end of the county. And during that time, I was also a board member of Community Action of Allegan County. And with respect to Mr. Lovers, I'd like to give the rest of the story, or the home delivered meals. If I may, I do have 2 documents. Could I give them to you? Is that?
Yeah, we can give them and pass them around, and we can pass them around to not use your time up. Uh-huh.
I currently am serving on the Commission on Aging, which Mr. Lovers referenced. And this series of events has left me greatly disappointed about the workings of the county government, particularly those that are supervised by our Board of Commissioners. And I've always been proud of being, when I served as the county commissioner of Allegan County. But this has a lot of disturbing things. One is the request for proposal that Mr. Lovers referred to, that where they got 4 responses and 2 were considered, including the home delivered hot meals by Community Action, was not brought to the Commission on Aging that. So there was no diligence there, as was represented in the previous remarks. And when the report came back from the 2 people who reviewed the responses to the
I'm actually in the
RFP,
meeting.
it was given to the.
You ready? Take it off.
And Rakesh, you're,
I got it.
okay.
Thank you.
It was given to the Commission on Aging without a number of facts. One is cost. It was just said that they couldn't compare the 2 proposals because it was not apples to apples. the commission, the Community Action asked for a renewal of its contract that it's had for 20 years, successfully delivering meals to seniors, 535 in 2024, 2025. But in addition, the wraparound services, when the drivers are there, they are asking about the well-being 5 times a week of the residents. And rather than go into all the details, I'd like to just share a couple of responses that we received from more than 55 of the people who now get Meals on Wheels from Commission on Aging versus the Meals on Wheels from Kent County.
I'm gonna give you 2 more minutes since Mr. Lubbers had more time to talk about the program. I want to give you more time.
Well, thank you for that
Yeah.
kindness. I do appreciate it. I'm 76. I'm here on behalf of seniors in my category and people that we have served. I'm intimate with this program. And by the way, I want to say I served on the Board of Commissioners with the late Dean Kapinga, and he also served with me on the Community Action Board. And we were 100% advocates for this meals, the hot meals that we delivered. Anita from Pullman, I won't give the last name. She says, having my daily meals from Allegan Community Action is my only real source of having one balanced meal daily. I am bedridden and can no longer shop or cook for myself. It is very important for me to help me keep this service. Now she'll get a frozen TV dinner. Many days, this was from Diane from Wayland. Many days we are not able to make meals. I am disabled and my husband has had a stroke. The meals are dependent on for nutrition and is offering time that we have loved would be lost without it. Look forward to our delivery gal. She saved my husband's life this winter. As she came up the drive, she found him laying in the snow. 911 was called and he was taken care of. Virginia, she did not give her home, says, if it was to stop with meal delivery 5 times a week, my helper would not see me. I would be in a nursing home. My quality of life would be non-existent. And this is from Linda. Again, she did not give her community. I appreciate all that you do for home delivered meals are one of the things that you provide for me. I have multiple sclerosis diagnosed 56 years ago. My life is very difficult. I would like to have the meals fresh, not frozen. And that gets me to the diligence.
Okay, so we're getting close on time. So if you can wrap up from here.
I'd be very happy to. What I provided you with is a sample resolution. That resolution was already adopted by Gunplain Charter Township last Thursday. And to me, that led to the action today, which I can only call it as a mean-spirited action to cut the contract short from the March 31st expiration to the notice that was delivered at 8:01 this morning to Community Action's executive director saying, you're going to lose the money on Wednesday. It will put 7 Allegan County residents out of a job, people who deliver those meals to these vulnerable citizens. We have a backup crew of 5. So you got 12 people who will lose their jobs from a tax that is levied on Allegan residents that will now be used to support a Kent County enterprise. Mayor, I appreciate your tolerance. I appreciate your attention. At your direction, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks. This isn't Q&A, but we can huddle. Well, we won't because we have a,
You could take a recess for a few minutes afterwards if you want.
yeah, we can wait until we're going to go into closed session, but between that, we'll leave a few minutes and if people have questions for you, they can ask you that.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you for that
Jordan.
perspective.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to make a public comment? Yes. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me. My name is Diop Harris. I'm actually a resident of Battle Creek, Michigan. And excuse my informality, coming straight from track practice. Today was the first day of practice and love to get back with the kids. But I'm here today as your prospective congressperson. I'm running to unseat our current congressperson, Bill Huizenga, running to represent us in the 4th Congressional District. Just to clear up some things from earlier, Meals on Wheels is authorized by the Older Americans Act, which is implemented by the Department of HHS. We're seeing cuts across the board, which are affecting Meals on Wheels, its ability to administer itself, not only cuts to the program, but cuts to Medicaid, which allows farmers to grow corn that then food banks can purchase. You know, it cut funding to food banks to bring cheaper food. So there's a whole lot of interconnecting issues here. But the most important thing is that we all need a congressperson who knows about this and cares to take it on. Obviously, our current guy, Bill Heisinger, don't mean to make this political, but has voted against, continuing funding and looking to eviscerate, the ability to give seniors good meals each and every day. You can rinse, wash, repeat, that sort of behavior mentality on every issue across the board. And what we see is a diminishment of our communities here in Southwest Michigan. I was born and raised in Battle Creek. I'm a member of the Nottawassipi here in Band of Potawatomi. My people have been here before America was America. I love this land, and I believe we need more people in public office who love it. So I'm looking to be our piece up in Washington, D.C. I'm looking to fight for y'all as y'all looking to, build out more green space, looking to add a fourth or fifth pickleball court. There are DOT funds that are in Washington, D.C. that should be able to support municipalities like yours to make your guys' dreams come true. And I'm looking to do that for you guys all. So here to introduce myself, let you guys know that I'm going to be in your neighborhoods, knocking some doors, but want to start our work relationship off very early. Our current Congressman, Bill Heisinger, thinks that, congressionally directed spending is immoral. Well, I don't. I think we need to be funneling our communities with investments, and I'm here to sort of get those ideas on what I'm gonna be working on in DC. So hopefully we can, get the ball rolling day one. So thank you all for having me here today. Thank you for the work that you guys all do as a council, and thanks for keeping Michigan beautiful.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dion.
Great.
Anyone else in the room wish to speak? Anyone online wish to speak?
Got a hand up.
Yeah, Allegan County.
Good evening.
Oops, sorry, I accidentally muted him.
All right, I think you're off mute now.
Okay. Good evening. This is Rob Sarrow, Allegan County Administrator. I hope you're all doing well tonight. I have just wanted to reiterate the message that the county had sent to local units. I guess if there are any outstanding questions with regard to the Commission on Aging's recommendation for new vendor following a very diligent process that was conducted in accordance with county policy, either myself or members of our team are happy to come out and meet directly with the city to address any questions. I can tell you that due to the expediency of the new vendor and their ability to get up and running, and quite frankly, in the best interest of our Allegan County seniors, given some of the communications that have evolved for them over weeks, the decision to terminate the agreement was definitely not made lightly and was made in their best interest. And Meals on Wheels actually has not started delivering countywide yet, but that will happen this week. So I think for some of the comparisons that may, be out there, we believe it's much more prudent to reevaluate that after the service has been up and running for a while. And we know that our citizens that are age 60 and older in Allegan County have a diverse range of needs. And for any concerns that there are relative to the delivery or well visits, it'd be helpful for individuals to look at the actual current contract language as well as the new contract language, and they will notice there is really no difference there. So the new vendor will be held to still do client visits. And in addition, many of our clients also receive other services. So for those that do need 5-day-a-week visits, we're able to schedule in-home support services and other services to ensure that they are getting that. So with that, that's just a couple of highlights. But again, through your city manager, if you would like, if the city requests more information, I'd be happy to come out myself or have a member of the team come out and speak with you. Thank you.
Great, thanks so much.
Thanks, Robin.
Anyone else online wish to speak? All right, that wraps up public comments. We are going to take should we take a quick recess and then do a move to closed session or move?
Let's, can I suggest we move into
Yes.
closed session so I can get everyone offline?
Yes, and then we can, those who wish to talk with, okay. Would someone please make a motion to move into closed session?
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
You need to read the
Oh,
whole
I'm
thing.
sorry. A motion to move into a closed session pursuant to MCL 15.268E to consult with the city attorney regarding the ongoing lawsuits filed against the city by Dune Ridge, captioned Dune Ridge versus City of Saugatuck, case number 22-65713-CK, and Dune Ridge versus City of Saugatuck, case number 21-64709-CZ, regarding trial or settlement strategy, which, if discussed in an open meeting, would have a detrimental financial effect.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Anderson?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Gardner?
Yes.
Muncy?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All those words.
All right, we are back in open session. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the city's attorney's recommendation regarding dispositive motions and or mediation.
Second?
I'll
Second.
second it.
Peterson?
Okay, Peterson second. Roll call vote.
Anderson?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Gardner?
Yes.
Muncy?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Motion carries. Okay, that takes us to correspondence, which I think we've all seen, begins on page 149. Any, I think we go to council comments now. Chris, you want to start with council comments?
Yes, as always, I love to see the sun come out. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. DPW is doing a wonderful job. People are starting to show back up. Restaurants are starting to reopen. But then tomorrow, I guess we're coming into tornadoes and rain again, but always a good council meeting. That's all I have.
Thanks, Chris. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Good meeting. Couple things. One is, I mentioned at the workshop that I'd like to have us discuss, one free Oval Beach pass for each city property this season. What, other than adding it as a late agenda item, is there a formal request I would need to have it on the next workshop agenda to make sure, because I think the new passes come out April 1st, correct? I think,
May, yeah.
no, May 1st, excuse me. Okay, all right, just want to make sure we're in front of that.
So when you missed the end of the council meeting where we talked about the process for adding things to agenda and agreed
Okay.
that we would do that quarterly as we go through a quarterly review of priorities, and kind of see where we are. So people just kind of keep a list rather than just, because it keeps us on track with our priorities.
Help me understand that. So I can't add an agenda item.
You can say that you have an agenda item, but then quarterly we will decide where to fit those in so that we can keep, because it's a fair amount of, it takes up staff time. It takes, and it would be part of our budget. And I don't know what the rush is to do that now.
I don't see this as being a big budget item. We've discussed this in the past. I'd like to bring this up at a workshop to discuss it. I don't think there's a lot of information we haven't already discussed to make a decision, make a recommendation. I just don't see this being
Is there a consensus to add it?
Well, we're not in,
Now.
we're in council comments. If you.
Just
if
give a
you-
raise of hand.
No, if you want to grant me permission to speak, Mayor, I'll tell you I'm not in favor of it at all.
Well, I don't want to discuss it here.
Okay.
I want to get a sense if people want it on a workshop agenda soon. So I have a no, a no.
Well, I'd want a lot of data. This is. the
Right,
issue.
so it's just it's whether we need to revisit it before April.
I was more comfortable with your proposal to put it on a budget discussion.
Okay.
Because I'd like to know things
Got
like
it.
how many in
Yep.
previous years.
Got it,
How
got it.
much?
We're not
Yeah.
gonna debate it here.
Yeah.
So Lauren, you want to postpone?
Yeah, it would have
Gregory?
to go along the lines with our budget, yeah.
Okay, Gregory?
I have to agree. It would have to go along the lines with our budget. I mean, it sounds like they have to look at it. They have to spend time working on, the numbers,
Okay,
statistics.
we're good. We've got a consensus.
Just
Good.
trying to explain why.
Okay.
Right, thank you. The other question is in regards to the correspondence that we had from Rakesh Madhava and Kevin Jangali, as well as Nick and Donna Agnew. I thought we had at the time when we made the decision to provide amnesty that we grandfathered all impacted properties at that time. And I keep a count of 9 in my head for some reason, and then that was reduced to 7 as a result of these 2 being exempted. So I either missed this or I didn't understand what it is we had approved, because I thought that these properties were included in that original, I'm going to call amnesty. And I don't know if I've missed something or if I thought there was a decision to say at that point, these properties were going to be grandfathered, end of story. And that turns out to have not been the case. So I must have missed something.
I have to agree.
So this isn't a discussion period.
Yep. I do want to acknowledge the letters from William and, never call him William, Bill and Barbara Bleeker, Cam Morris, and Renee Zeta regarding Mount Ballhead. I appreciate their willingness to send letters, and Julie So as well. It helped us make a better decision on various issues that the city's facing. So I want to thank them personally.
Joe?
Yeah, good meeting. Thank you all for the great dialogue we had tonight. I want to thank Jake for showing up and for having our backs. Always good to see you here in person. And fortunately, Bob's left for the day, but I wanted to thank him for coming out and introducing himself. And just to let everyone here in council know that my confidence just grows every single day working with him. I think we got a great find. I think he's going to serve our community really well. I have to say I'm disturbed, concerned about what I've heard tonight regarding the senior services. It feels like we're cutting back on services we're bringing to them, and that changes were made very abruptly. And I'd like to look into it more. Not that I probably can affect anything, but I think it's important to make sure that we're, if anything, raising the bar on the level of services we're bringing the seniors that are in need in our community. And this, I understand the reasons for fiscal responsibility, but this just doesn't feel like we're going in the right direction to me. So there's a resolution here. At some point in time, maybe we should discuss this.
Scott?
Yeah, I echo Councilmember Clark's comments. We only heard about this change in an email from the city manager after noon today. And then suddenly we have people from the county and people from Community Action, Allegan County, all coming to us, telling their side of the story. When something is this rushed, it concerns me and it makes me want to dig deeper. That goes to my earlier comment about the beach passes. I don't want to rush into any decision. I want to look at all the numbers, the usage, because we've tried to do things like this before and it was more complicated than we thought it would be. So I really want to be thoughtful about every dollar we spend to the taxpayers.
Great, Gregory?
I want to mirror Councilmember Clark and Dean on the on this thing. I know I kind of made a joke about Meals on Wheels, saying I'd like them only once or twice a week. Yeah, it is kind of odd how this came up to us so quickly. And I would like to have a little bit more discussion about this and maybe find out, maybe I'll do a little bit of diving in it this week myself and find out more into it. It is odd that we were just told about this and it's happening by the end of this month. And even here in Saugatuck at our council meeting, they came out and so yeah, I'd like to learn more about that. I'd like to speak to the gentleman that came in on behalf of Centers for Aging and learn more about that. And then also piggyback on Councilmember Gardner, when we did that ordinance, it was my understanding as well that there were 9 that were going to be under this umbrella or whatever, that we're going to, keep their houses in the program, in the rental program. And now it's become 7. I'm not quite clear. Is it 7 now, or I'm not sure.
This
but-
isn't, yeah, we can.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I'm not quite clear why it wasn't all 9, because when we voted on this, I thought it was 9 as well. And then also, just want to remind everybody, it is St. Patty's Day weekend, and the pub crawl put on by April Gundy, helped out by the
Floor.
Yes, yeah, there's someone that's asked to come back in.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that front door had been locked.
I'll wait till they get up here to talk about the. But April Gundy is doing that. She raises money for Operation Hope that does backpacks for kids, as well as Christmas gifts for folks that are in need. You can sign up there. It's at the Wicks Park Bar and Grill. Starting at 12:30 to 5:30, and go on a little pub crawl. On the same day, we'll also have the People and Pets Parade, Aaron Go Bark Parade. Will be over in Douglas, and you'll line up at 11:15 for a parade that starts at 11:30 there in downtown Douglas. This weekend is usually kind of like a little spring opener for us all. I know we all got a little bit of taste of spring today as well. It's just nice to see the town start to wake up again from our winter slumber.
Okay. Just quickly, because it's running long, but I just want to say congratulations to the Saugatuck girls basketball team for winning conference and district championships. They fell short at regionals, and it's a real bummer, but the community support that they had was pretty amazing. We like to see that in women's sports, so we'd love to see that community support, and Saugatuck certainly does that for all of our teams. So here it is. It's now softball season and track season and baseball season and soccer season for the girls. So, please get out there and support the girls. And also, I hope to be talking more with the school district as far as what their plans are with the sinking fund and what kind of improvements that we might see to the tennis courts, and then the eventual community rec center that I'm looking forward to seeing plans for that.
Great. Well, I'm going to try to clear up the confusion over what we passed for short-term rentals. There were 9 cases, but what we decided to do was make an accommodation for the people who were confused by the application deadline or reapplication deadline and the expiration deadline.
Right.
And so we agreed and asked asked to change our ordinance so that people who missed the application deadline but got it in before their permit expired, we gave them a pass, and they were covered by that. And so we were talking numbers, but I don't think any of us realized that of the population we were considering, there were 2 who missed the application deadline, one of them by, I think, 3 months or so or more. And so we passed this to say, okay, it was confusing. We didn't pass it so that people who missed their deadline without confusion over that could, be included in that.
Right.
So, Jake can, or the city manager can provide anybody with more information on that.
Thank you.
Okay. And yeah, great game, great meeting, and birds are singing out there. Who would like to make a motion?
Moved.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.